All right. Good afternoon, guys. Welcome to the Hungry for More agency call. We have a special guest on with us today. Looking forward to having him on, our man, Frank Desena. Before we do that, let's go through the numbers because the numbers are our scorecard of how we did last week. So let me start off by sharing how we did. Hang on one sec, you guys. I'm excited for today's call. So first things first, we're going to talk about our submit numbers. So you guys should all be able to see this now. So last week, February 25th through March 3rd, we had 40 agents write business over the course, 47 agents write business over the course of the week, for a total of 189,534 in premium. We had 138 applications submitted. This is the first leaderboard where we officially have our newest logo. So welcome to FFL Redemption. We now have a new agency that's been created within our business. So congrats to Erica and her team for achieving the senior sales manager status and logo. But last week, of the 189,000, we're going to recognize the top people. We'll go for the top, everyone over 5,000. So we had 12 people last week submit over 5,000. So great job to everybody that went out there. Before we recognize those, we do have some new writers. Obviously, if you're a new writer, this is the first time you've written business. This is the launch to your business. So congrats to Alex A, Jesse O, Jessica D, and Patrick V. Your guys' #1 job this week is to be on the leaderboard every week moving forward. So if you wrote business today, this past week, just rinse and repeat every single week. What did you do last week? Make sure you do it again this week and just get better and do more of it. So that's your guys' job this week. And that's really all of our jobs every single week when it boils down to it. And so let's recognize the top 12 people, the folks that have went out and wrote at least 5,000 in business. So Tabitha with 5,199, Rob with 6,029, Romelia with 6,252, John Kennedy, 6,768, Andrew G, 6,909, Joe G with 7,958, Sean B, really getting some consistency, Sean. Great job out there, man. 8,704, myself with 9,165, Clay Sweet, always at the top of the leaderboard, 10,067. Really proud of this guy, Kent. Last week was his biggest week ever. Coming out of convention, finding the spark, getting some momentum and some rhythm. So great job to Kent for his first week ever over 10,000 with 10,902. He said to me he's going to break into the top 5, and he did it. So great job, man. And then the top 2 are the ladies. Ladies leading the team this week. Great job, ladies. So Darla Osuna with 20,260, just going out there and crushing it. And coming in #1 last week, Erica Haynes, 21,517. Just a great job to everybody out there, really doing what's necessary to help families, putting clients first. And so great job to all you guys. Now, our week ended on last Wednesday, right? So those numbers were through March 3rd, which was last Wednesday. So now, who's going to work after Wednesday, right? Who's went to work? So let's talk about our weekend warriors, right? And so we like to do this post. You guys have seen this on Facebook. And so every Monday, you guys will start to see this recognition, but we're going to be putting out there who our weekend warriors are. So far through the week, we had Riyadh, who's new to the business, new to the industry. He's part of FFL Redemption. He went out and wrote 8,037 in business already. And I think this is like his 10th day, if that. I think he's like a week in, basically. So great job, Riyadh. We have John McConnell already writing 7,551. Great job, John. Jessica, new to the business. I think she's been part of the business now for 2 weeks maybe. And last week she already wrote 6,269 out of Texas. So great job, Jessica. Erica being consistent, 5,773. Nate Fudala, 5,345. Josh Maestas, 4,776. Rob Warner, 4,284. And so, guys, I know there's other people that went out there and did work over the weekend. We have to kind of draw a line somewhere in the sand, right? And so typically we're looking at right around who's written 4,000 to 5,000 in submitted business to be recognized for a Weekend Warrior. If you wrote business on the weekend and you didn't make it, it's not that we don't love you. It's not that we don't care for you. But we, when we're talking about recognition, we just got to draw the line in the sand somewhere. So just go, keep going out there, keep helping families, because that's what it's really all about. Now, all of that we just talked about was really submitted business, right? Business where we sat with a client, we submitted an application to the carrier, and most of the times we know if they're approved in the home. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes it's pending. Sometimes, we need a little bit of time for the underwriters or the carriers to make a decision. And so the most important number out of everything that we do, guys, is issue paid numbers. All right, so let's talk about our issue paid business for last month. Let's see here. It is right here. So last month, FFL Republic, we issue paid 387,768 on a shortened month. This is not our best month, not our worst month. We're still growing. So proud of everybody that went out there. We did hit a new record of how many agents went out and wrote business. So this is the first time we've ever had 70 agents write business in a month. So great job to everybody out there. And then next month on the next leaderboard, we'll have, we're going to have more people. I mean, the goal is to continuously have more people, help more people make money, and help more families protect themselves and their legacy. And so shout out to the top 10 agents on FFL Republic last month. So Carlos with 10,954, Josh Hall with 13,723. Erica Haynes with 13,948, Clay Sweet with 17,000, Sean B with 17,356, Darla O with 20,752. She wrote 20,000 in February, and then last week she wrote 20,000. I'm pretty sure she's going to smash her record this month. John McConnell, 20,913, Josh Maestas, 25,076. Myself with 38,377, and leading the way for FFL Republic is Nate Fudala, Senior Sales Manager for FFL Vertical at 38,559. So great job to all you guys. Guys, let's continue to make our clients our priorities, because without our clients, we have no business. And that's really what this is about. It's about serving others. And so with that, I want to bring on our special guest today. We have my man, Frank. Frank, you out there?
How are we doing, brother?
I'm great, man. How are you?
Excellent. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for jumping on and sharing with us. And so, if you can, let's just kind of get started with, how long you've been with FFL, kind of, the things we usually do, right? Give us a little bit about you, where you came from, and how you found FFL, and then we'll kind of jump into it from there.
No, absolutely. I know this call is not about me, so I don't want to spend too much about my backstory, but been with Family First Life a little over 3.5 years now. I think 3.5 years. Been in the insurance business coming on 8 years, and I share this story not to talk about myself, but to if somebody's new here, I use the example. We're here in the Boca corporate office, and we're in South Florida, and I'm born and raised here. Right. So when people come down here, they're like, oh, you got the beach like 2 blocks away and this and that. And it's like, I don't even know the last time I went to the beach, So I think I tell my story to say this: if you're new to insurance and you just come to Family First Life, it's almost like how I'm here in South Florida, and it doesn't mean anything to me, because I didn't come from living in winters and shoveling snow, right? So when somebody comes here, like where I came from on a 50% comp, no leads, selling friends and family, and it takes 1 to 2 months to get paid on a case, not 1 to 2 days, you really appreciate the opportunity that we have here. And so I share that to say this, like, it sounds cliche, but there really is, and I know, Julius, you can agree with me, and I'm sure a lot of people on this call can agree, there's no better company, there's no better time, and there's really no better opportunity. Like, so that's why I'm so excited about being on calls like this, and just sharing whatever little bit of knowledge and information that I can, because I've come from the other side of the fence, and my family's experienced that struggle. And we've gotten cars repossessed, and we've had those letters on our door when my kids were 13 months apart, both in diapers, and my wife's home. So I've experienced that, working 80, 90 hours a week, working another job and trying to make the insurance deal work. I've experienced that, what other agents are experiencing right now that aren't with Family First Life. So I'm not sharing my backstory to get you guys to feel bad for me. I'm not sharing my backstory because I just like talking about me. It's just to share, like, that we really do have the best opportunity. And this is why I'm excited to talk to you folks. And a lot of you, it seems like I don't need to share much because you guys seem like you're crushing it. But if I can help one or two of you to see, how good we do have, and how we can, all we have to do is really, have fun, serve others, and stay uncomfortable. And that's what I pour into my team, those three things. If we can have fun, like, cause this thing gets fun, right, Julius? Like, as you grow and build, and after your first, that first 9 months that you just got to put in that work and be relentless. But after that, things start getting easier. You start getting better, and you're able to really have fun and serve others. So, that's a little bit about me, and that's where I'm at.
Awesome. I didn't realize we had a parallel where we both came from another organization with low comp, no leads, that whole friends and family
Yeah.
dynamic, it's crazy. Let me ask you this, Frank. Do you think that people that come to Family First Life without that experience maybe take this a little bit for granted?
Not 100%, but not intentionally, right? But that's why I do like to share a little bit about of my backstory, and that's just a very little bit, but that's 4.5 years of that, and there's people right now in that spot. My kids, if I take them out to dinner, and one of my kids has like a bad attitude, the first thing I tell them is there's some kids that never go out to dinner, ever. There's some kids that aren't eating tonight. And to have that sense of appreciation for what we have, like, that's why I'm in debt to Sean Mike forever. I'm in debt to this company. Like, if Sean Mike says, go do that, you might get arrested, I'm probably going to have to do it. He'll probably bail me out, but like, that's just because I'm just so appreciative because of where I was. And some people just, they're never going to go there, which I'm grateful that you don't have to go there now, but it's hard to really appreciate. Yeah, absolutely. It is hard to.
For sure. So let me ask you this, Frank, because your team's exploding. What did you guys end up doing in February?
So we went back. I think, talking to a lot of people, I think it had to do with convention. A lot of my team we had a lot of, like we talked about, we had a lot of my team in Texas, Oklahoma, where they just weren't able to work for like a week and a half, 2 weeks. So we were on track to doing 650. We ended up doing like 520. But we'll pick it back up this month. I'm not worried about it. But yeah, we're growing. We had 81 riders. And
Awesome.
so I'm excited. I'm excited for everybody on the team.
So you guys, I mean, you're all growing, all right? We're all trying to grow at the same time, right? But I guess my question to you is, outside of February, because February was an anomaly with weather and convention and just what hit us. But outside of that, like, as you're bringing on new agents, what are some of the, maybe like the one or two things that you have newer agents really focused on to help them go from 10 to 15, 15 to 20, and so forth?
Yeah. So first thing is being intentional, right? So like what you just said, going from 10 to 15, 15, 20. I think a lot of times new agents just come in and there's so much uncertainty and there's so many things they have to learn where they're not being intentional. So I think setting those goals is huge. right? Setting that, hey, I want to hit 10K my first month. Or if it's 20K, more power to you. But that progression of that 10, 15, 20 that we always talk about, it works. So be intentional about it. I think being intentional about that helps. I I say this a lot with my team is that what I just said recently, to have fun, serve others, and stay uncomfortable. That's something that I learned from a business coach that I have, and it's changed my perspective so much in this business because when they say have fun, we're not talking about like this is not a party, right? This is business. But when you are disciplined, like the more discipline you have, the more freedom that creates over time, right? So we have to. What you see it, Julius, like when we go out, we could spend 2 grand in leads and turn that into 15, 20, what we just saw on the leaderboard. But it also, like for some people that may not happen right away, right? And then also when you're building a team, you may pour all this money and time and it doesn't happen right away. And so some people stop. That doesn't mean it doesn't work. They just didn't wait. They didn't, so you have to outwork, you have to outlast, you have to do all those things. But I think if you're disciplined, it creates freedom and it creates the ability to have fun and enjoy this thing over time, right? So that's why I always say have fun. And I say serve others because in the beginning, a lot of times you get hit in the face a lot of times in this business. That could be something simple like a no-show. That could be something simple like a chargeback, but we're getting hit in the face. They could be quick little jabs, but sometimes that's not fun. How I think that we can overcome that is by serving others. Why? Because when we're serving others, we're not thinking about us. We're not thinking about our problems, right? Like right now, if my house is burning down, I committed to being on this call with you, Julius, and your team. I can't think about the house. I got to think about pouring into you guys. So I'm committed right now. So right now, I'm not worried about anything. I have no worries right now in this hour. So what I've learned, especially from some mentors in this business and my personal business coaches, if I'm ever overwhelmed by something, I immediately now have like something in my subconscious that makes me I have to go serve people. Like, who can I help? Do I need to go fly somebody and work with a team? Do I need to get on the phone and dial and get in front of more people? Whatever I need to serve more people right now. And then the last thing is staying uncomfortable. And when everybody I'm sure on this call has heard that saying, which is there's nothing more truer than you're either growing or you're dying, right? Especially in this business. And because so I came from the health and wellness and fitness industry, and what we've all heard of a yo-yo diet, right? And a lot of us have probably experienced one. How many times have we all said or heard, I'm going to lose that 20 pounds and then I'm just going to coast when I get there? There's no coasting though. There's no coasting. So you lost the 20 pounds. So what you did was you created new habits and you got rid of some old ones. And then once you got to that, hit that goal, then what did you do? The coasting was you just went back to the old habits. And then you gained back to 20 pounds again. So you're either growing or you're dying. So the staying uncomfortable is you also need to have that alert that goes, hey, you know what? I feel good right now. That actually isn't a good thing because I'm comfortable. Why am I comfortable? In my first year in business, I should not be comfortable, right? Like in my third year in business, I should not be comfortable. And again, this is not like a negative stress. There's different types of stress. You stress is positive, right? So if I'm trying to, going back to a fitness analogy, if I want to get ripped, if I want to get 6-pack abs, I remember I would have clients that we'd exercise and they'd be sore. And then they'd complain, I'm sore. But then once you teach them, educate them, hey, when you're sore, it's because you broke down the muscle. When you break down the muscle, that means you're growing the muscle after it repairs, right? And then the women that don't want to get muscular, you educate them that, hey, muscle is better than fat. The more muscle you have, the less fat you have. So you're educating them and you're learning that, hey, it's not always bad to be uncomfortable, right? So then when you would educate the client on that, if we'd work out in the future and they didn't get sore, they'd complain. Why am I not sore? This is not working. So you should have that mentality of, hey, right now I'm not comfortable. That means I'm probably not working. I'm probably not in the field enough. I'm probably not dialing the phone enough. I'm probably not seeing enough people. Like I need to get more uncomfortable because that's going to create the results I want. That's going to create the body that I want. That's going to create the fat loss that I want, whatever the goal is. So those are the things I'm constantly talking about is have fun, serve others, stay uncomfortable. It's simple, right? It's easy to do. It's also easy not to do, just like this business. So that's a short answer to your question.
No, that's good, man. That's really good. And I think you said a lot of great things in there that make a lot of sense that really decipher. It's that line of delineation of who's going to really do well and who's not, right? And I think one of the key things is discipline, right? And whether it's fitness, whether it's whatever you're looking to do or build or create over a long period of time, without discipline, how can anyone create anything special, right? And this is a business, right? And we're not just agents. I mean, we can choose to be just producers, or we can be business owners and actually build a business. But either way you look at it, even if you're just a producer and that's all you want to be, and that's fine, if you don't become disciplined to continuing to learn and develop and evolve, your skills as a producer can even go back, right? And so I think that's so key. Any tips that you have for anyone that may be struggling with discipline, or some of those things that you said to kind of get them ahead?
Yeah, I honestly, I think that discipline, if you're lacking this, because discipline is like, it's one of those words where nobody likes that word, right? Like nobody wants to be disciplined. So you kind of have to trick yourself, and not trick yourself, but ask yourself, why am I not being disciplined? Why am I not doing the job? And I think that if we go to the next thing that I talked about, which is serving others, if it's not and you can agree, I'm sure, Julius, the more this is not about you, the more successful you are.
100%.
Period.
100%.
So if you're lacking success or discipline, you're probably focusing too much on you, your problems, or you're just not working. And I think if you can really focus on the fact that the more you help people in this business, the more successful you are. And so you just need to serve more people. Like that's it. And have like almost like a healthy sense of guilt if you're not. Because like what else are you doing in this business?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I think it was Grady that told me once, he's like, when it comes to discipline, if you buy the leads, right, that's another way of kind of tricking yourself, right? You buy the leads early, right? So if your dial day is Monday and you bought the leads on Thursday, well, you're pot committed, right? So if you're not going to be disciplined to dial on Monday after you bought them on Thursday, you're literally setting your money on fire. And I don't really know anyone that wants to set their money on fire. So as long as you can be disciplined in buying your leads, then usually I think people are going to be pretty good at dialing the leads and doing what they need to do from there, because no one wants to waste money.
I think that also works with every level in this business. Like when I hired my first staff, I wasn't ready at all. Like, so anybody on this call, like if you're looking to get to the next level, hire staff, first of all, and don't wait till you're ready, because you're never going to be ready. That changed everything for me. And when I did that,
what was your first staff?
Well, things were different then because we had paper apps and everything. If I were to give you advice now, it would be to get a recruiter first. Me personally, that's what I would do first. I don't really think we need an admin. Like, so for me personally, the way we're structured, if I don't know how you're structured, Julius, but like if I have somebody new and they come to me and they say, hey, I want to grow, I'm going to support them and help them with like contracting and things. Like my staff will do that until they get to a certain point. So I want to help them grow. So my advice to them is get a recruiter first. We'll help you to help. And then once you're at a certain level, then you get your admin, right? So if that makes sense, for the way you're structured, great. If it doesn't, then I would just get with Julius on that. But I highly recommend getting your first staff and an office. Like for me, in the same day was like I started looking for staff. So like in the same week, I hired my first staff and I got my first office. Was I ready for either? Absolutely not. But it was like I wasn't going to hire staff in an office and then not go to work. Same thing. I'm not going to buy leads and then not call them. Right. So I 100% agree with that. That goes back to staying uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like I was stagnant where I was. I had to get staff. I had to move. Like just like I'm doing now. I'm getting another staff. So what I would tell you too is one thing I'm not good at a lot. Trust me, I'm not good at a lot. One thing that I was good at, and I'm still in this habit of, is whenever I need to make a big decision, I'd call at least 3 people. So, and no, let me rephrase that. I speak to at least 3 people. So, like when I was new and I was struggling with questions to ask in the home, I reached out to 3 people that were writing 40 grand a month. And but I actually what I did is I reached out to 5 or 10 and spoke to 3. Because like I'll have a new agent, they're like, "Oh, I tried to reach out and the person didn't get back to me." The whole reaching out thing doesn't work. No, like you just aren't committed to getting the answer. Like everybody's busy. You can't just hate them because they didn't get back to you. Reach out to more people. Just get the answer, right? So I would speak to 3 people. When it was time to get an office space, I spoke to 3 people. When it was time to hire my next staff, I spoke to 3 people. Like what that does, number one, is it gives you clarity of that decision you're making, but it also gives you peace of mind. Like, hey, somebody else has done this. They just gave me right. How Julius? We always talk about it. Confused clients don't move.
Right.
Why would confused agents move? Let's get the information and the knowledge and the clarity we need, and then we can move. So I'm big on reaching out to and speaking to at least 3 people on whatever, if you need help or whatever big next decision you need to make. That's helped me a lot.
Awesome. That's key, man. What I want to a lot of our team are really focused on production. There's a few people that are looking to actually build. But let's talk to the producers because we do have a bunch of new people on this call and here in the office with us. What would you say to the new agents to give them clarity so they're not confused so they can go and produce? What would those few things be?
Is everybody on this call at home, or are they in your office, or a majority of them?
There's a few people in the office. There's about 10, 15 people in the office, and then however many are on the call. So
Okay.
we have a mix of 2.
Okay, got it. Because I always tell people on my team, if you're not clothed, don't share your screen. But if you're clothed, you should share your screen because that's the point of a Zoom call. But
True.
My advice to people that are new and they want to have more clarity, they want to have more confidence is the first thing is being very assumptive. Like we've heard that, but that's what we're in an assumptive business. Like assume everything. They filled out a form. All we have to do is tell them that, hey, I'm the local guy and I'm coming over. And if you can have that confidence, like it almost doesn't matter what you're saying on the phone. It's how you're saying it, right? Because in the first 5 to 10 seconds, it doesn't even matter what you're saying. As long as it's said properly, they're not going to hang up on you. But if you always hear tone and cadence. If you're too high pitched or you're too happy, they're going to hang up. But it's not about what you said. It's how you said it. So it's about the confidence, and the confidence just comes from, it's not about you and how long you've been doing it. It's just, the confidence comes from how much you've been putting in on listening to live dials, or do you do a Zoom call, Julius?
Yeah, we have a Zoom call.
Yeah. So can somebody be on that like before they even get leads?
Yeah.
So, it's putting in that time up front and just listening to the objections and things. And, I think this goes with the same with the in-home. Has anybody heard that if the number one cause or the number one fear besides death is public speaking, right? Most of us have heard that. Do we know how they get people to get past that and overcome that? Preparation. So preparing for your speech as much as you possibly can takes a lot of that fear away. So it's just, I think it's the same thing in this business, right? The more we prepare, so the in-home is, we always hear it's 15% of the business, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't prepare. Right. Like how many in-homes did you watch? How many times did you write out your in-home? How many times did you say it in the mirror? Like, this is your craft, guys. Like if we make as much as some professional athletes, if you were blessed enough to get signed on, and when I say signed on, like you were introduced to the opportunity, because not everybody knows about this. Like, guys, I wanted to be successful for so long. I just didn't know how. I didn't have a platform. I didn't have wealthy parents. When I found this, it was like, this is it. And some people, when we get signed on, we could either be the starting five or we could sit in the bench. And you know that when Ray Lewis was here in Miami, he Q&A, I asked him, I said, in our business, we have a lot of up and downs, right? For new agents, there's a lot of people that have the up and downs. How would you recommend that they overcome that or don't have that up and down in their business? And he said that there was a guy, I forget the guy's name and I forget what year it was, but there was a guy that he could not get past. Like he could not stop this guy. So what he did was, instead of just trying to perfect his position, he learned every other position on the defense, and then he learned every position in offense. And he was there at 6 a.m. with the defensive coordinators, and he would learn. He knew his craft, guys. Like, so how he overcome this was preparation. He just got so prepared, and he treated this like this was his business. He's getting paid NFL money. Guys, we can get paid NFL money, or we cannot. Right? So I think that's huge, is just preparing, making sure you have enough leads. Like I talked about this in a training. Sorry, Joyce, I wasn't able to respond to you. I was in a training just before. But good. I talked about this in a training just now, like the CRM leads. They weren't here 3 years ago. Yeah. Right? And if you ask Steve G, I'm not trying to write 40, 50, 60 grand a month, doing it my own way. Like when Steve G last time he was on stage, he was asked how many different lead vendors do you use? He said 5 to 6 at any given time. Right? I remember we come in here, we have time or we have money. I may not start off with Steve G money where I can have 5 to 6 vendors, but you better believe I have a plan to get to that as fast as I can. So I typically recommend having 2 vendors up front, right? CRM, and then that could be also a Facebook final expense or a Facebook or a final expense mailer, right? And now I have 2, and then I sell a couple policies, and then I build up my 5K lead. I have 5K lead bank account, 5K in a lead account, right? I have 3 accounts. I have my 5K in my lead account. I have my personal account that I pay myself weekly or biweekly. And then I have my account that my carriers direct deposit, right? So I'm in control of my money, which allows me to be in control of my business. So once I can save that $5 grand in my lead account, now I can step out and maybe get some, let's say some mortgage call-in leads or some mortgage retro or whatever Julius or your manager recommends. But now I have 3 lead flow, then 4, then 5. Now I'm controlling my business and not letting it control me. So I think that just as much as we say that the phone is 80% of our business, without leads, the phone, like, I don't care how good you are. So you have to make sure that your lead plan and your lead flow is on point. Lead flow is cash flow. So if you don't have the lead flow coming in, it doesn't matter how good you are on the phone. Yeah. So I would say main things there are making sure that, again, confidence is key, being very assumptive. I would say making sure you have enough leads, right? So if in the beginning you can only do CRM, 100 to 150. Julius, how much do we hear that a lead is a lead is a lead?
All day, every day.
Right. That's all it is. But here's the thing. You have to know that an $80 lead and a $4 lead are priced differently for a reason, right? So I don't need to get $180 leads, but I need to get $104 leads.
Correct.
Right. So if Julius is, because he worked towards it, gets 20 $80 leads, right? He won't drown. But if he gets $24 leads, I don't care how good you are. It's not going to be a good week. It's just not. So when you're new, also, you're not the best in the world. You need to have more up at bats. Yeah. So enough leads. And then the last thing I'll say is in-home, your structure is everything. Your structure in the home, and it's the who, why, and what. Who I am, okay? Who I am is what that's doing is you're getting them to like, know, and trust you. Who I am is creating credibility, and it's getting to know that, like, so for me, simple stuff like this. If you walk in and they have a family, you see there's kids, grandkids on the wall. What do? I show them, like, for example, right now, my wife's expecting. So what do I show them? I show them we have a baby on the way. I'm not a crazy guy living in the woods. There's one woman out in the world that actually said that I'm okay, she'll marry me. So I'm showing them that, right? If you don't have a family, maybe you have a dog. They have a dog. Look at my dog. Like, just for a second, you don't have to get them to invite you to the barbecue like we hear, but just get them to drop the wall, right? Because if they're like this, you're not going anywhere. And you're new, so you're going to try to go through the whole thing, and you're not going to, you know, while I'm like this. So I want them to like me, which like, know, and trust me, right? And then, so that's the who I am. So I'm going to show them my state badge. I'm going to show them our credibility. I'm going to show them, our page with the carriers, our carrier credibility sheet. I'm going to show them whatever I need to get them to like, know, and trust me. Then the what? What are we doing today? Why am I here? What's going to happen? Because remember, these people filled out a form. I know how to get life insurance, right? I'll call Julius. He can get me life insurance. But these people don't know how. They fill out a form. So they probably don't know why. They probably don't know why you're there. They don't know the process. If you don't tell them, you're probably going to get, I need to think about it. But if you tell them up front and you tell them, hey, this is what we're going to do, like, so simple. Everybody has a different structure, right? This is mine. Okay. It has to, and I've heard people where it's so analytical that I could never say it. They write 50 grand a month. It works for them. I had an agent who was on one of the agents on my team. She was on his team, and he writes 50 grand a month. He went over his in-home with her, and she was doing it verbatim, but she just wasn't analytical by nature, and it didn't work. She was about to fail out of the business. I had a conversation with her, and I told her, do you feel I said, go over your in-home with me. And she just sounded so uncomfortable. I'm like, are you comfortable saying that? She's like, not at all. I'm like, okay, I wouldn't be either. That's just not me. So I said, I think my personality is more similar to yours. I'm more direct. This is why I'm here. And as soon as she did that, she went from literally, I think she sold like 1 or 2 policies in her first month. Now she's writing like 5, 6 policies a day, like just like that, just a quick tweak. So now, like, what she does is she'll walk in and she'll tell them, so when she goes over the structure, she's like, listen, so what we're going to do today is, my job is very simple. We represent over 15 A-rated carriers. Okay. My job is twofold. Number one, find you something that you qualify for. And number two, because not everybody's eligible. And number two, find you something that fits within your budget and not a penny over. So what I have to do is I'm going to take you through this client worksheet. I'm going to ask you about 3 minutes worth of health questions, 3 minutes of financial questions. If we can find something that you qualify for, or that we think you can, we have to put it through underwriting. Okay. I don't make any financial decisions. The head underwriter of each carrier does. They can let us know today or in the next 3 to 5 business days. Does that make sense? Shall we proceed? Whatever you feel comfortable saying. Then now you know if they're serious. If they're not, 10 minutes in, you're out. You got 8 more people to see. If they are, you take them through. And now this is when you build rapport. When you're taking them through, okay, the client credibility sheet, once they choose A, B, or C, and you're filling out the app, now you build some rapport. But I'm not talking about where they vacation. I'm talking about who we're doing this for. Yeah. Right? I'm talking about the person, when I ask them questions up front, I'm talking about the loved one, their sister that just passed away. I'm talking about that. If they don't have anybody that passed away, I'm going to talk about my best friend that passed away at 23, and that's why I'm in the business. I'm talking about my grandmother that got Lou Gehrig's and aged 20 years and 6 months. I'm talking about these things because I want them to see, like, there's nothing to think about here. You're not going to cancel this because you just got qualified. You got qualified. You may not get qualified again. So we want to make sure we keep this on the books. So little things like that, you're going to learn over time. But so again, it's who, what we're doing, and why. The last one is why. And these are not in that order, but the why is when I first sit down, guys, this is where I think too many people go wrong is they're too scripted. There's an art and there's a science here. The science is filling out the client credibility sheet. Like, that's not that deep. Just question and answer. Just read it. The art where I think new agents go wrong because they're so in a rush to show the numbers is they don't ask enough questions. Why am I here? So, and then people say, well, I don't know what questions to ask. Okay, here you go. Because it's not that deep. Just be a human being. Mary, what got you thinking about this? Like, anybody here can do that. Anybody here can say that. And then when she tells you, ask more about it. You know, my husband died 6 months ago. I'm so sorry. Are you okay talking about it? Or, yeah, I'm okay. Okay, how did he pass? Oh, wow, did he have any coverage? He didn't have coverage. Did that put a burden on you and the kids? Or he did. Oh, wow, I'm sure, you guys felt good that he really, went out of his way and put something in place. Now it makes sense why I'm here. So you do the same and leave the same legacy. Just asking questions. Another thing that I did was on the credibility, on the client worksheet, I came from fully underwritten. Anybody here, I don't know if they can unmute it, but if you've gotten life insurance fully underwritten, the nurse asks about your mother and father. Okay. So what I did was I add that on my client worksheet because it's an easy way to draw emotion. If you're having trouble with questions, here's a tip. Right on the client worksheet at the bottom, mother and father. Okay. Ask them, Mary, is your mother still living? No. What age was she when she passed away? 62. Okay. Write it down. How did she pass? Heart attack. Okay. So Mary, you're sitting in front of Mary. Mary's 60 years old. She just got done telling you her mother had a heart attack at 62. What's there to think about? And what am I doing when she tells me about that? I'm asking questions about it. I'm being a human being. Mary, like, how she had a heart attack? Was it out of the blue? Was it expected? Unexpected? How did you take that? Because it was so sudden. Did she have life insurance? I'm asking more questions about it. Like, we don't have to be professional question askers. We just have to care about people, genuinely care about people. Like, this is going to be your client for life. Care about them. You're there for an hour. They don't get, people don't have one-on-one conversations with a lot of our clients. Like, people don't look them in the eyes. They go to Walmart, they go to doctor's office. Like, they don't have conversation. They haven't seen their kids. They live in another state. You're there for an hour. Just love them when you're with. Ask them intentional questions. Be real. Care about them. Julius, I don't know have you ever cried with a client? I'm not being tough. I don't cry. My wife thinks I have problems. I don't cry. I've cried with a client. When you hear some of these stories, if you ask enough questions and you get them going, whoo, some stuff people go through. So if you're crying with a client, do you think they're going to say they need to think about it?
No, definitely not. Yeah, dude, what you said was, I mean, it's spot on. I mean, it's what I think we all needed to hear. And it's a reminder of what we do, right? And how real simple it is, but a lot of those things are overlooked, excuse me, right? Like being real with someone, being genuine, caring for them, and just having structure when you do it. And I think a lot of times our agents, at least, the ones that we're working with, they're so worried about saying the right words in the right order, in a very specific manner. And one of the things I like to tell folks is just be you, You don't have to say it perfect. Just be you, be real, be genuine. And people are going to buy from you because you're you, right? And you can't change who you are, right? Like I won't say the things the way you say it. You won't say the things I say the way I say it, but you take the flow, you take the nature of it, and you make it your own. And you just do it with your best intention. You put your heart into it, you give it your all, and people will know when you're being real and when you're not being real, right? And if you sound too scripted or it doesn't sound authentic or genuine, they're going to pick up on that, right?
Yeah.
So I appreciate that, man. And the stuff you said even before the in-home, right? The assumptiveness, right? I mean, I think assumptiveness in our business is probably one of the biggest things that has allowed our organization to grow at the rate it has, because while all the other companies out there are trying to build interest, our clients requested this information. They've already expressed interest. So why would we not be assumptive? It's almost like we're not trying to service them if we're not assumptive, right?
The other thing, and not to cut you off, but the other thing where other companies go wrong is they're so product focused. Like call all my clients, call every single one of them, hundreds, thousands, ask them what product they have. Ask them what even carrier they're with. I don't know. Frank's my guy. They're buying us. Right? That's why it's so important to be yourself, because when you're truly authentically yourself, that's it. Like people like that. Like there's that training that Mark Me did where he talked about like these people, they've been through it all. They've lost children. They've been through wars. They've been through the Great Depression. But so you don't think they know if you're trying to fake it till you make it? Julius, wouldn't you if you had a brand new agent, I don't care if they're 18 or 55, wouldn't you rather have them say, listen, I'm pretty new at this. Let me call our senior underwriter right now, make sure I'm getting this right. I want to put you in the right position, as opposed to faking it till you make it when you know they know. Like they know. So it's not about like you're never gonna be ready, right? Like it goes, I always say, for the people that are on the fence, a lot of you are crushing it. So a lot of you don't need to hear this, but if there's anybody on the fence, stop watching YouTube videos on how to ride a bike.
And
think about it. You can't learn how to ride a bike watching YouTube videos. You can only watch so many. You got to get on the bike. You have to just you need seat time. You got to get on the bike and you got to fall over and scrape your knee and get back on. And once you get back on the bike, what happens? Let me ask you this. For those of you that had kids and watched them go through this, or even yourself, once the bike gets going, which is in this business, it's momentum, you can't get your kid off the bike. You just have to get off YouTube. You got to get on the bike, tip over a couple times, and you just need to catch that momentum. And the best thing you could do there is once you get that momentum, don't get off the bike.
Even if you fall into a bush, you get up and you keep going again, right? Like who cares? So that's awesome, man. That's so good. That's so good. Hey, so let's dedicate this last 10 minutes. I'd like to open it up, see if anybody's got any questions for you. I'll ask here on Zoom, if anybody that's on live with us, if you guys want to unmute and ask Frank a question, let's go for it.
Share your screens. Let me see some faces.
I know, right?
Unless you're not dressed.
We had one of those last week. I had to close the screen out. Anyone in the office?
It's actually going to happen.
Always happens. All right. Any questions in the room here, or anyone online?
So you know what I learned? I learned this from Mike Killiman. Agent that asks the most questions wins. And I've always noticed that, like, and I joke about it, like, but the most annoying agents on my team are the most successful. Like if you look at Alison DePasqua, oh my God.
Whew. She just hit Hall of Fame, didn't she?
Yeah, and she, she's almost she'll almost do five. Like no, she just did 350. Her team did 350, and she hit a Hall of Fame in the same year. And I joke with her all the time. Like she's the most annoying agent. but she's also the most successful. And when I mean annoying, I don't mean annoying like nagging. I mean annoying like she wants to learn. Like she will figure it out. Like she will bug you to death. And you know who else is like that? Marco Conde. There's also, you know, rookie of the year. Every morning, first 6 months, first 8 months, I get a text every single morning. Good morning, Frank. Good morning, brother. Have a question. Every morning. Every morning, 6 a.m. Question. Like, so don't be afraid. Like, I'm asking questions. I'm still asking questions 8 years in. So I just get confused when nobody asks questions. It's not that I'm forcing you guys to ask questions. I want you guys to win. Like, don't be afraid. If you have a question, let's go.
I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
What are you doing to build your agency? Share with us what you're doing, what marketing channels, what are things that you're doing, and what did it look like when you started compared to now?
Woo. So, what are we doing? So the first thing is like we're excited. We're excited. I think that's so important. Like, people aren't going to follow, you know, whether when we're saying leader, that's if you have one agent or 1,000. People aren't going to follow like an unenergetic, like not fired up, not enthusiastic. They're not going to follow that leader. Like, they want to follow somebody that's excited, right? So, and again, I'm not saying fake it till you make it, but be excited about the opportunity. Even if you're not where you want to be yet, be excited about the opportunity, because not everybody has the same start, right? Like, there's people that write 30 grand their first week. My first week did not look like that. Lord knows. And that's fine. But if I'm not sharing this, I'm blocking that blessing for the person that would write 30 grand their first week. Right. Yeah. So I'm sharing this with everybody. And because I do that, so does my team. And I'm excited about this. And so is my team because I'm excited about it. So I think that's the first thing. That foundation is just the excitement about this opportunity. And I think that how many times Julius, you probably heard this from probably everybody in your team that wants to build a team or wants to ship. Let me wait until I'm where I want to be. And, you know, I would probably say that I would be the same. I'd be that same person. I have that same thought process, except my first annual convention here, I'm a big note taker. I even take notes on my own. Like, you invited me here, I'm taking notes. When my first convention, I'm looking through my notes at the end, and I'm seeing the two biggest things over and over again with people. Number one, with top producers or agency owners. Number one, they waited too long to hire staff. So what I do right when I got back, got staff, got an office. Number two, they waited too long to share the opportunity. Those are the two biggest things. And you know what? It was like, in my notes, every single person over and over and over and over and over again. And I just remember some people talking about it and they were not happy about it. Like, they were really not happy about it. Like, it wasn't just like, oh, and if I could do it all over, like, they were like, I wish I shared this sooner. But like, I remember Matt Smith saying, yeah, it was 7-year, you know, Hall of Fame, like best in the company, but I waited too long to share. And look at everybody else, and I'm still here. And so to hear somebody like that say that, it's gotta hit you, right? So that hit me. And I just remember, like, if you look at my old Instagram account, I'm sharing leaderboards way before I was ever on one. Like, I was sharing before I even sold a policy. I'm just awesome. Great job, team. Good work. Guys, Julius is putting all this stuff together. It would behoove you to, like, it's free marketing. He's got either his staff or his social media person is putting it together. Just share it. Good work, team. Keep killing it. Even if you're not on it, eventually you're going to get on it. But why not? Like, so people are going to be like, hey, Frank, what are you doing? And what am I going to say? I'm in the best opportunity ever. This is what I'm doing. I'm working with my manager, Julius, or whoever this is. I'm just getting going. Probably not the best person to speak to, but I'd love to have you come on board. You know, let's start this thing together. What happens? They go under you, right? They're on your team, but you're going to have other people help grow, develop, and lead them. It's not about you. It's not about me. It's not about any of us. Like, let's just bring more people on. So this is like our culture. in our agency is this, just for me, I have like a healthy sense of guilt if I'm not sharing this like an insane person, because I know we're like, Julius, when I first started here, 4.5 years in the insurance business, when I started here, I never told anybody to get their insurance license in their first 4.5 years, because I was like borderline homeless. Like, why would I do that to anybody that I cared about? When I found this, everybody knew about it. I called my best friend. I'm like, dude, you're going to get your license. I know. I didn't ask him. I wasn't like weird about it. Like, hey, what do you think? I was like, dude, I know what you make a month. Go get your license. Go get it right now. And he got it. And now his life's like, he makes 10 times more than a month than he used to. And it's not all about the money. He's a different person. He's grown as his life's never going to be the same positively. Right. So I'm sorry. Does somebody have a question?
Looks like we have a few questions coming in now, Frank.
Julius, someone sent me a direct message. I think it was supposed to go to everybody, but the question was, how long did it take you to get to under 1 hour in the home?
Good question. That comes from, I don't remember how long it took, but I'll tell you how you can get there. This is important for the phone and the in-home. Okay. This is the control that we have, or that we should have. Okay. And the control starts on the phone. So this is what people are going to do. If you have this in your mind, they're going to try to get you off course. They're going to try to get you out of control. And that's going to happen, right? So if I'm on the phone with Mary and Mary says, oh, you know what? I'm not interested. What am I going to do? I'm not going to take Mary down this road. I'm bringing Mary right back to control, right? So what do I say? Perfect, Mary, that's the purpose of my call. I'm not going to say, Mary, what do you mean you're not interested? You filled out this form. What do you think? Now, where am I going? I'm losing control. We're off the phone. She hung up. I'm bringing it back, right? I'm agreeing. Perfect, that's the purpose of my call. I'm acknowledging. Listen, I know that you said that you're not interested anymore. Whether you're interested or not, my job is super simple, because I'm the local field underwriter and the senior field underwriter. Because this information came across my desk, that means that there's some unresolved information that needs to get to you. So I have to just get this out to you. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes. Then we'll get you checked off the list, so they'll stop calling you. So again, does the 2 o'clock or 4 o'clock work better? I'm always ending with a question. I'm going back. So what I do, she brought me off. I got back to my script. I got back in control. So same thing in the home. Don't let them take you here. Always bring them back, but they're going to keep doing it. They're going to try to come over here, get back on. Over here again, get back on. Stay on this line, okay? And the other thing is, if you have a sense of urgency, your clients are going to see that. They're going to know that. When you tell them, listen, I'm super booked up, Mary. I see about 8 to 10 people a day, but I have a slot here between at 2 o'clock tomorrow or 4. What's better? She just heard you see 8 to 10 people a day. So when you get there, she gets that you see 8 to 10 people. So here's the other thing. If you have 2 appointments, your clients know. If you have 8 appointments, your clients know, because you got to go. You got to get going. Listen, Mary, like I hate to cut you short. Let's pick back up on this again. I just have to get to my next appointment.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. We got one more question for you. Glenda, looks like she's got a question. Glenda, go ahead and unmute and ask your question.
Hey team, it's Glenda. What I've been going through basically is I've been having issues. Some people don't have accounts, like banking account information. Okay. And then my dilemma is I don't want to walk in the door and say, okay, do you have an account number? Because that makes it seem like they're asking for money. So during the presentation, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. Then at the end, oh, well, I don't have an account or checking or savings account. Or I have a card, but it's a direct express. And I know, I believe AIG takes it, right?
Direct carrier. Prosperity, yeah. So let me, is that your only question?
That's one of them.
Okay. So let me answer that first. Well, my first question before I answer that is, how many appointments how long have you been with us, Glenda?
Since October.
Since October, okay.
But
And
I'm not a new agent. I've been licensed for like 6 years.
okay. How many appointments are you running a week on average right now?
Not enough. Usually a lot of people don't answer their phones. I'll call, but then my last resort or the best resort is door knocking.
So ballpark, how many appointments are you running?
A week,
Yeah.
probably about 8.
About 8. Okay. Here's what I've learned. Like, so, you ever hear that example? Like if you go to the doctor and your knee's hurting, you tell him, hey, listen, doc, I might need surgery on my knee. And then he checks you out. There's nothing wrong with your knee, but it's your opposing hip, right? That's causing knee pain. So I think a lot of times when we're new, we think that the issue that we have is really the issue. But here's the reality. When we're new, or we're just not where we want to be, a lot of times we think it's something that's not. So like right now, whenever somebody tells me I'm getting a lot of, I always want to know how, and I'm telling you this just because I want you to win, right? Don't think I'm putting you down. Most of the time it goes back to how many appointments you're running, or if somebody says, hey, not enough people pick up the phone, or if I hear this, oh, everybody said they're not interested. Okay, well, everybody was probably 3 people because you only dialed for 3 hours or an hour. So I'm not saying you, but I'm saying, so for your situation, it may feel like everybody doesn't have a bank account because maybe if you had 8 appointments, maybe you only sat with 1 or 2 people, and it feels like everybody doesn't have a bank account. That's the first thing. If you're really running into that situation, my real answer would be, I would ask somebody else or ask a couple more people, because I don't run into that situation. So, and so maybe somebody does and they could help you, but I don't want to give you like an answer just to act like I know it all. I just don't run into that enough. I know some people ask not directly up front, but like once they get some type of commitment, or once they're through part of their process, they'll say, listen, some of our carriers give discounts if you either have a credit union or a traditional bank. Who do you bank with? So that might be something, but my first piece of advice I would tell you is do what you can to get more appointments. That, I promise you, that will probably resolve that issue.
Okay.
And did you have another question?
Yeah. As far as the leads go, you said you deal with 2 or 3 vendors. What other vendors do you deal with?
So CRM, 100% first, because you can go where the leads are, right? And then in addition, if the budget allows, you could do some Facebook final expense, right? I'm sure Julius knows a bunch of companies he could recommend to you. And then also, once you get to a point where budget allows, some Facebook or some final expense mailers, or some call-in mortgage, things like that. But you want to work up to that. So, 1 or 2 is good in the beginning. And in the CRM, you could find 2 or 3 different type of lead sources just in the CRM.
Mm-hmm. Well, when I first started, I was running the happy agent leads. I know they're more expensive, but the people were more receptive, and I was writing a lot of business.
Right, because remember, those are $20 to $25, and the CRM are $3, $4. So you just have to buy more of those. You have to have the right expectation of what you're doing. So again, when some people buy 30 Facebook leads, I can't buy 30 final expense leads. I gotta buy 100. And I have to know they're internet leads. So if people are gonna say they didn't fill it out, even though they did, people are gonna fill out 5 different things online. I'm not focusing on that. I'm just focusing on the people that pick up and I book the appointment with. That's it. I don't buy 100 because I'm booking 100.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. So just have that expectation.
Appreciate it, Frank. Glenda, we got one more question. So we're going to pass it. Frank, do you still have time? Because I want to be respectful of
Yeah,
your time.
no, I'm good. I'm good.
All right. We got a question. I think you answered someone else's question about lead vendors, but it looks like Jessica has a question. Jessica, if you want to unmute and ask your question.
Awesome. Hey, Frank. So definitely learning a lot from this. So I'm pretty much, I say I'm in Pampers here because I'm coming in from not knowing absolutely anything. Like I was that girl was like, what's whole life? Like what's term life? Like that's the girl walking in these appointments and thankfully, thank God, selling on these. The thing is, right when I walk out of my appointments, like I feel like I just came out of a battlefield because I'm like so tense in there. Obviously, they don't see that, but I'm struggling into trying to shorten it. I know that it's going to be more of a the more you do, the better you're going to get at it. But what was your resources that you can tell a new agent that would be more, how can I say this, like good to review and be better at knowing what to provide to the agent, to the client. So just to give you a scenario, because I don't know if I'm explaining myself. I sit with the client, right? They tell me go through the inventory sheet. And then in my mind, I'm like, okay, so who am I going to like write this policy with? And so I try to reach Clay. He's my upline. And sometimes like I don't want to be that person bugging, but I know like that's eventually what you have to do. Or I'll go on Slack.
You have to.
Yes, you have to do. But what I'm trying to do is shorten it because I've sold, like luckily I've sold on a lot of that I've sat with, but it's been a 2-hour, almost 3-hour kind of deal, right? Because I'll apply, maybe they'll get denied, and then I'll apply with another one, then they'll get denied. So I'm trying to see what I can do to kind of grab an understanding of who I can go with initially so that it doesn't extend to 2 to 3 hours.
I got your question. So here's the first thing I'll tell you is, and I don't know if this is your problem. This has been some people on my team's problem where they had longer appointments than they needed to have. We all know what we know. We don't know what we don't know, but we also need to know ourselves, right? So I had an older gentleman who's on our team, and he would be in the house for 2-3 hours. But I knew exactly why, right? And I didn't want to push that along too long. I wasn't worried about his feelings. I was worried about making sure that he was successful. So I had to have the conversation. The conversation was like this. Let's say his name is Joe. Joe, you and my mom have a very similar personality, right? It's different than mine. When somebody asks me what time it is, I tell them the time. I don't tell them how to build the clock. And I tell them, with all due respect, you kind of have a similar personality like my mother, where she likes to tell you how to build the whole clock. And then she tells you what time it is. Okay. So for me, that was never a problem. I'm pretty direct in the home. I'm in, I'm out. Some people are not. That could be the first thing. It sounds to me like, I don't know your personality, that may or may not be it. If it's not, what it seems to me like is you need to get better at underwriting.
Right.
And that's
right. That's like understanding, right?
Learn. It's really not a tough skill to learn. You just got to get good at reading. If it's final expense, good at reading the final expense grid. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to call Julius or Clay or if you have a hotline. Hey, Clay, I'm here with Mary. She's 57 years young. And this is, again, if you're not sure, you don't have to do this every time, but I'm here with Mary. She's 57 years young. She had a heart attack 3 years ago. She's on this, and this. I'm thinking about going to American Eagle Premier. What's your thought? She's good to go, or she's not, or I'll go here. Now you just save yourself an hour of going with the wrong company. And now you're not in a 3-hour appointment. You're in a 45-minute to an hour appointment. And then the other thing I'll say is when people post, close $30,000, $3,000 AP in 30 minutes, that may not be you up front. That's fine.
Yeah.
Right? I've been in more than enough appointments where it's been over an hour. It's okay. You're going to get better. So don't get down on yourself, but just get better at underwriting. And here's why I'm big on getting good at underwriting is I messed this thing up in the beginning a lot when it came to underwriting. I would go and I'd put them with this company because I thought it was a better option price-wise. It goes to underwriting. I leave. They get declined 4 days later. I try to call them. They don't answer the phone or whatever the case may be. I don't get back in the house. or just business gets in the way, I don't get back in the house, they have no coverage. Okay.
Right.
Now I'm thinking, you know what? Mark Mead, Julius, Matt Smith, they knew their underwriting. They would have got that client approved right there in the house, and they would have made $1,800 that I didn't make.
That's what stresses me out sometimes. Like I think like I take it like I'm the person that I'll do something like by all means, like I'm not scared to do it, but I'm the type of person that I need to know what I'm doing. So this field is a field that you have to get out of that comfort zone in order to start making money right away. And I am blessed that I've had amazing guidance from my uplines that I've been able to make money. It's just trying to narrow down the time that I sit with the client so it doesn't turn to a 2-hour.
Just call in the house. You know, I'm big on your first 100 appointments, get good on the phone, call in the house.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you.
Jessica, thank you. Frank, I want to say thank you for your time, man. I really appreciate you pouring into our team and really serving us today. So thank you so much for serving us. And I look forward to paying it back to you, man. And I know the team got a lot of value out of it. Obviously, the comments are in there. A lot of notes were taken. And so, again, thank you so much. And look forward to working alongside you and building with you, man. So appreciate that.
Thanks for having me on.
You got it, man. We'll definitely have to do it again. And last thing I want to leave everybody with, we have to get better at booking appointments, because at the end of the day, the better we are at booking appointments, the more appointments we have to book. So, or some more people we have to see. I guess I said that wrong. So the live dial team is on today. I was trying to share my screen. I don't have it up, but every Mondays and Thursdays, guys, ffldialteam.com. Be on there every Monday and Thursday. All of the top producers are doing it. So why aren't you? I want the best for each and every one of you. And so go on there, learn from the top producers, get better at your skill, right? Master your craft. And then this becomes a whole lot easier. Okay. So go on there. We have people jumping on right now. Thank you guys for joining. Frank, thanks again. And see you guys. Talk to you later. Bye for now.
Thank you.